In the last episode, we saw the beginnings of God's creation, and now in chapter 2, we see him filling in the details, creating everything in order for his dwelling place to be ready. In verses 4 to 17, we learn about the Garden of Eden, where the first humans lived before sin entered the world. Let's dive in. Verse 4 tells us, "When the Lord God made the earth and the heavens, neither wild plants nor grains were growing on the earth. For the Lord God had not yet sent rain to water the earth, and there were no people to cultivate the soil." During creation, God formed the earth, the seas, the sky, the sun, the moon, the stars, and all living things in just 6 days. But here in Genesis chapter 2, we see a little more detail about how God prepared the earth for man's habitation. Verse 5 continues, "Instead, springs came up from the ground and watered all the land. Then the Lord God formed the man from the dust of the ground." The Hebrew word for dust here is afar, which means red clay or brick. And this tells us that the first man was not created from some ethereal substance, but from the very soil of the earth. God took this dust, molded it with his hands, and breathed into it the breath of life, and the man became a living being. God then created a garden in the east, which in Hebrew is Eden. It was here that God placed the man whom he had made. Verse 9 says that God made all kinds of trees that are pleasant to the sight and good for food. And in the middle of the garden, 2 trees stood out, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. In verse 10 we read about a river flowing from Eden to water the garden, which then divided into 4 branches or rivers. Some scholars believe that this river is what we know today as the Tigris and Euphrates, but that's not important right now. What's important is that the garden was full of life, full of fresh water, and that God placed the man whom he had made in the midst of this garden. And what was his assignment? To tend and to keep the garden. In other words, he was to work the garden. He was not just to lie around and enjoy the beauty of the garden, he was to take care of it, to nurture it. And that's a great lesson for us, because we are God's creation, and he has given us the earth to take care of. We are called to be stewards of the earth, to use it wisely and to preserve it for future generations. God told Adam that he could eat from any tree in the garden except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and if he ate from it, he would surely die. Now, why did God place this one tree off limits to Adam? Why didn't he just tell him not to eat from any tree? That's the question for next time. Join us then as we continue this series. Until then, God bless you.